pleasure to join you here tonight, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you about my vision for our party for the future and my vision for the province of Ontario. You know, we've been at this for, it seems like most of my adult life at this point. It's been almost 10 months since I announced my declaration of my intention to run for PC party leader, but now it's coming to an end in just a few weeks. We started off, of course, with 5 candidates. Now there are just 2 of us. I'm very honored to have both Lisa MacLeod and Vic Fideli join me on this journey, as well as 17 of my other fellow caucus members. So it's great to be here and to talk about where we are, why I'm running, and I'd just like to take a few minutes to explain to you why I'm running and why I hope to have the honor of being your next leader. Like most of you, I'm really concerned about what's happening in Ontario economically. Look at what the Liberals have done to this province in 12 short years. They've run us into the ground, and they're continuing with it to the point that you almost have to wonder who they want to have stay in Ontario to do business. We've got almost a $11 billion deficit, and you know, only the Liberals can say that's a good thing because it was supposed to be $12.5 billion. It's only $10.9 billion. But the fact is it's increased from $10.5 billion to $10.9 billion. We're going exactly in the wrong direction, and we're piling up debt to the point, I think you've probably heard the numbers, we're going to be into debt to the tune of $325 billion by 2018. And you know, Kathleen Wynne and the Liberals like to talk about how they're the compassionate ones, they're the ones who care, they're the ones who want to have a just society. Well, saddling our children, I've got 3 sons aged 24, you all have children and grandchildren, saddling them with that level of debt is absolutely not compassionate, because it means that they're not going to have the same opportunities that we have. They're not going to be able to make the same choices and have the same standard and quality of life that we've enjoyed. Essentially, what we're doing is we're mortgaging our children's future so that we can have a good life today. That has to stop. And we're the only party that's going to be able to turn that around, because the Liberals have shown themselves to be completely incapable of managing our economy. Now, the reason why I'm running and why should you vote for me is I believe because of the difficult financial situation that we're in right now, we need experienced leadership to get us out of it. Leadership that expands beyond just the scope of politics and includes business experience. I've been elected, as you know, as MPP for Whitby Oshawa for 9 years, and that's important experience. But I've also had the opportunity to work for one of Canada's largest banks for almost 5 years. I work for Scotiabank in their international audit department, so from a lawyer to a politician, bank inspector, I mean, how low can you go? But it is invaluable experience because I do understand financial statements. I do understand the world economic situation and Ontario's place within it. I think that will stand in good stead as time goes on. But I've also had the experience of practicing law for 25 years before I got involved in public life. And in many ways, I see the job that I did as a lawyer in the same way that I view my job as MPP and I would as leader and ultimately premier. When I was practicing law, people would come to me and pay me to solve their problems. And it wasn't going to be good enough for me to say, well, I think you might want to try this might work. That's not why people pay you. They pay you to find solutions to their problems. In the same way, all of you as taxpayers pay my salary, all of us as MPPs, to solve the problems that Ontarians are facing. From our economy, to our healthcare system, to youth unemployment, and everything else in between. That is the discipline and the rigor that I would bring to the job as your leader and ultimately as premier. But equally as important to me as the business experience that I've had is the volunteer experience that I've enjoyed over 20 years prior to becoming an MPP. I've acted as the chair of our Community Mental Health and Addictions Agency, our local Children's Treatment Center, our local hospital foundation, Canvas for Heart and Stroke, Cancer Society. All of those things have shown me that the lives of many people in Ontario are very difficult. If you have a child, a son or daughter with autism or other special needs, it's a very difficult, challenging life you're facing. But I've had the opportunity to work in those areas, and I've also had the distinct pleasure of bringing forward 2 private members' bills that resulted in select committees at the legislature, one on mental health and addictions, one on developmental services, that brought together all 3 parties, all of us with different philosophies, working together on nonpartisan issues, admittedly, but working together to find solutions to those problems, writing a report together, and having that report be well accepted by the communities it was written for. That's the kind of leader I would like to be for our party as well, to bring people together, to find solutions, to find consensus, and to work collaboratively. That's why I think people elect us in the first place, is to actually get down to business and solve the problems at hand. That's the way I've always operated, and that's what I would want to do as your leader. Now, we've been traveling for almost 10 months now. Across Ontario, I can tell you that that message is resonating. And the message that I want to bring to people, in addition to that experience, is what are we all about as progressive conservatives? What do we stand for? Who are we? Because a lot of people aren't listening to us right now. We've got a lot of women that aren't voting for us. We still have a large gender gap. Young people don't want to vote for us. They don't even see us as being relevant. And many new Canadians haven't heard our message about who we really are. To me, it's twofold. It goes back to the roots of our party. Number one is we're fiscally responsible. We're not liberals. We don't spend money that we don't have. We live within our means. And the money we do have, though it's precious these days, we spend on priorities. Because as progressive conservatives, we know that government can't, nor should it try to be, all things to all people. Because there simply isn't enough money in the world, and that's not the purpose of government anyway. So we're fiscally responsible, but one thing that what we haven't talked about recently is why that's important. It's important to be fiscally responsible so that you can be socially compassionate. We need to have the money to be available to be able to help people that need our help, so that we can help families that have children with special needs. We can help our frail elderly seniors get the home care and long-term care services that they've worked hard for all their lives, and that we can help young people with developmental challenges be actively involved in our community, in the workplace, be involved in our society. Because we know that everybody has abilities, and it's to everyone's benefit in Ontario that everyone have the potential to reach the full extent of their abilities. So that's what I'm standing for in this election. This message, I can tell you, is resonating across the province, and it's not just with people who voted PC in the last election. It's with a lot of people who frankly parked their vote with the Liberals last time because we did not provide a credible alternative. We frightened people with some of the things that we came forward with. We have to stop that because we have to win the next election. And it's not just because we want to win after 4 successive election losses. It's because I truly believe Ontario needs us to win. And as bad as things are right now in Ontario, I truly fear they're going to be worse in 2018 with the Liberals' plan of the Green Energy Act and its continued fallout, the pension plan that they're talking about, the carbon tax that they call a cap and trade, but we all know it's a tax. All of those things are taking Ontario to an even worse place economically. So we absolutely need to win, and I'd be grateful for your support, because none of us can do this alone. It's about building those relationships and making sure that we form a strong and united team. I know that a lot of you feel that you were very disrespected after the last election, that you worked hard, that you volunteered your time, your energy, your expertise, your money. And then when it came time to making policy decisions, it was never mind, we're going to go and talk to a small group of people that I'm pretty sure don't knock on doors, because if they did, they would have known those policies were going to be toxic to us. So we need to make sure that all of our members are engaged. We need to make sure that we all make decisions together. If I become the leader, I want to continue to travel the province to understand how things are in all parts of the province. And I'd really like to see us elect a committee of people at our next annual general meeting to represent regional concerns, have youth representatives, have representatives from new Canadians, new communities, to make sure that when we come forward with policy ideas, they can be vetted from 360 degrees, and we'll know that those policies are either going to be green-lighted into our policy convention, or we're going to say they're dead in the water. That's the only way that we can go forward, is all of us working together. So, at the end, and I think I'm probably going to get the hook soon, I just want to say that for those of you who have pledged your support to me, thank you. I'm truly grateful and humbled at the level of support that we're receiving across the province. To those of you who are still thinking about it, I'd be happy to answer any of your questions, and I'd be honored to have you join us because together we're going to take back Ontario in 2018 and bring it back to being the economic powerhouse it's meant to be. Thank you very much.